What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another Prizepicks NBA player props video. This one going to be breaking it down, giving you guys a 5-star 6-man that I just sent into my VIP. Going to be sharing it with you guys here for free, so hopefully you enjoy. Going to get into exactly what I mean as far as the 5-star and what that all means here in a second. But quick little review of yesterday, guys. The Taco Tuesday, I gave away another free 6-man. This is what we rocked with yesterday's video. We went with the under Jaylen Brown that hit over Victor, the Taco, and John Morant. Under on Zion Williamson, which did actually end up being my VIP play of the day. So shared that with you guys here for free, just for proof. You can see I sent that into the Discord as well. He crushed that under. And then where we went south is that Brooklyn-New Orleans-Pelicans game turned into a blowout. CJ McCollum absolutely went off in the first half. I have no regrets about yesterday's picks. He just didn't end up playing at all in the fourth quarter because the Pelicans absolutely killed the Nets. So, you know, obviously when we're talking about these picks, these projections and stuff, we're factoring in that they're going to play their normal allotment of minutes. Unfortunately, CJ just didn't play the fourth quarter. If he would have crushed. I mean, he put up like 25 fantasy points in the very first half. So, you know, it's kind of important to know, like, why you lost your ticket. Yes and no. Like, if you're playing optimally, at the end of the day, it's just the results of the results. But some people have zero idea of this stuff. Like, they just see that CJ didn't hit, and they're like, why did this guy take him? I mean, he didn't play the entire fourth quarter. If he would have played the fourth quarter, he easily would have hit for us. But I just wanted to do a quick review there. We are on a 4-2 run for those of you that are new to the channel. Anytime that we're hitting above a 60% hit rate, I'm going to be putting that we're on a run in the title of the video. This will kind of let you guys know, obviously, if we're doing really well. That's a really high standard, 60%. It's not the easiest to hit that, but that's why I do it for the channel. I want to be holding myself to a high standard, you know, aiming high for you guys. Going to be giving a lot of 6-man flexes this year, trying to teach you guys how to play correctly. Because if you're hitting at an individual leg hit rate of 60% or higher, you're going to get a ton of a return on investment, a really good return on investment over the long term playing on Prizepicks. 66% ROI if you're hitting at a 60% hit rate or higher. So, you know, a quick way of being able to determine if you're kind of on the right track, you want to be hitting at a 55% hit rate or higher on your picks. You know, go through your slips, see if you're hitting above 50% or at least 50% on most of them, and you're going to be kind of on the right track. So that's the goal here. Obviously, yesterday's video, right? We hit at, you know, right around like a 66% hit rate. So we're now on a little bit of a run. We obviously need to get some sweeps and stuff for that winning percentage to stay up. So I just want to give a quick explanation as to, you know, what I'm doing, and then the 5-star play, all that means, guys, is that I'm giving my members permission to play 2 units on it, which is very rare, but we have a beautiful slate tonight, right? We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 game slate. So there's a lot of value to be had. Going to be giving you guys the 6-pick flex here. If you are getting serious, really looking to ramp up your game, join the VIP. I'm going to be giving a ton of free content out this year, but also you cannot beat this package. You're going to get access to every single one of my tickets, all my plays as soon as I place them, all sports, all apps throughout the year. If you're watching, you're enjoying the free content, and you're someone that plays Prizepicks every single day that's trying to get serious and really profit, that's going to be where you want to go ASAP. If you're someone that's just playing for fun, watching the videos, showing support, you're not quite as serious, I completely understand that. That's why I provide this free content to you guys, but I know there's a lot of people that really want to learn how to truly make money on these apps. And that's going to be my goal, obviously, in the free content, but also the premium is just next level. So the KJK DFS VIP member package is where you're going to want to be at. That's at Patreon. It is linked below in the description, and I'll pin it at the top of the comments. So anyways, yeah, so a 5-star play, guys, all that means is I'm giving you permission to put 2 units on this, right? Or that's what it means when I send it to my members, right? So if you're someone that typically plays $5, I'm giving you permission to play $10 on this. If you're someone that typically plays $10, I'm giving you permission to play $20 on this. Nothing is a guarantee. It is a 6-man flex. It is more likely that we don't go 6 for 6 than we go 6 for 6. But I really like these plays. They have some really good value. And once again, giving it to you for free on the channel. So if you enjoy, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. It's free. It takes 2 seconds to do. Really do greatly appreciate it. And let's try to get the likes up over 100, please, if you would. And also, just a friendly reminder, majority of people aren't subscribed. This is a analytics that I pulled from one of my latest NFL uploads where 75% of the people that watch weren't subscribed. So thank you for hitting that. And let's talk about the important stuff, what you came for, the picks, guys. I got to get the little bit of an intro out of the way. But we'll break down exactly why I like these 6 picks for you right now. So first game that we're going to discuss is going to be in this Oklahoma City Thunder Atlanta Hawks game. So this game is going to be the first game where I have 2 picks that I like. We'll start things off on the Oklahoma City Thunder side. First of all, 285.5 over under 1 point spread. This game environment is going to be ridiculously good, right? So expecting some great output from both sides in the fantasy scoring department. A 123.75 implied total for the Hawks, 124.75 implied total for the Thunder. And you look at the projected pace for this game, it's going to be ridiculously good. Second on the slate, trailing only that Bucks-Pacers game with a 101.8 projected pace. And we'll kick things off with the small forward on the Oklahoma City Thunder side in Lu Dort. He's finally getting some more minutes. He was a guy I was targeting a ton to start the season. He kind of fell off a little bit. They were starting to mix in some more Casey Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, etc. Now they're finally kind of tightening up this rotation a little bit more of what I like to see, right? So getting a lot of Shea, Lu Dort, Chet, Jalen Williams, and Josh Giddey. And then these guys are just all the role players that they're filtering in here. Lu Dort, last game against Boston, they're out in the second half of a back-to-back, played 37 minutes, 30, 32, 30, 27, 33. So he's going to play in the low to mid to upper 30s in competitive games. And if he does so, Prizepicks has his line massively mispriced here tonight, in my opinion. You look at the fantasy point per minute production here for Lu Dort, putting up 0.77 fantasy points per minute in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format. And as far as on the season, his fantasy points per game, minutes per game, he's sitting right around 21. He had that rough stretch, like I said, though, where he wasn't playing as many minutes. If he's going to play in the upper 20s into the 30s, he's playing 28.8 minutes per game, which is a little bit lower than what we've seen, right? So they're finally giving him those minutes into the 30s. And with the rates that he puts up, that 0.77 per minute clip, in this type of a game environment that we talked about, it's going to absolutely fly, right? 285.5 or 248.5 over under. He's going to be able to clearly surpass his fantasy score prop, in my opinion, here tonight. I've got projected to go over by quite a sizable margin. He's in the low 20s. He's going to score in the upper 20s to into the 30s every time he takes the court if he's going to play in the 30s, as he's done the last 2 times out, right? 30 and 32 fantasy points respectively. And he's a guy that can do it for you in multiple ways, but he gets a ton of blocks and steals. We talked about this yesterday and you'll hear me talk about this a ton when I'm talking about fantasy score props on the channel, because you get 3 points for every block and steal in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format. So it's something I really talk about quite often, but it's factored into my projections, and I think it tends to be sometimes the difference between, whether I lean on an over of a guy. Lu Dort, 37 minutes last night. He put up 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 9 points. That's exactly what Lu Dort's going to do. He's kind of a glue guy. He can score and get hot. The game prior had 18 points, 1 block, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Game prior, only 4 points, but still 3 steals, 1 block. So he's going to get you those blocks and steals so you can score and rebound the basketball. He's really just a glue guy. He's a defensive guy that's going to be out there. But you put him in a 248.5 over-under game that's expected to fly. Something tells me there's going to be, quite a few of turnovers in this game with how fast it's going to play. There's going to be some blocks and steals to go around. Lu Dort loves to contribute in that category. And then also, like I said, basic math, guys, it's just a misprice. 21.5. He's going to be in the mid to upper 20s to into the 30s with his fantasy point per minute production with the amount of minutes he's playing now. So that's the first misprice in this video today that I like. We're going with the over 21.5 for Lu Dort, and then we'll run things back on the other side of this game with a guy that I love tonight. We'll go ahead and throw him maybe on the thumbnail here when I'm done recording, because I really do like this prop. It's going to be Trae Young, fantasy point per minute monster, one of the best producing point guards in the entire NBA as far as his per minute rates for Trae Young. He is putting up 1.35 fantasy points per minute, and one thing I really like about him is the minutes he's playing. We look at this Atlanta Hawks rotation. He's playing like 40 minutes a game, guys. So, minutes equals opportunity. Out of anyone in this Hawks rotation, it's Trae Young that's getting the most minutes by far. He's playing upper 30s, 40 minutes a game. If you're going to give Trae Young 40 minutes in this game environment, yes, please, especially with where he's priced over here on Prizepicks. Like I said, you look at that per minute rate, right? 1.35 fantasy points per minute. 30% usage rate, that's elite. And the Thunder have been giving up a lot of points to the opposing point guard position as well on this other side. So Trae Young is a play that I certainly do like a lot tonight. 48.5. I have him going over into the 50s as he's done in 4 of the last 5. 53, 59, 49. He didn't quite go into the 50s, but he still surpassed his fantasy score prop. 67 last time out for Trae Young. And then, like I said, not only are we getting this great pace that we discussed, right? The 248.5 over under, we're also getting a really solid matchup for him, which we're also getting a solid matchup for Lou Dort as well. It's something I didn't mention before. We'll just list off some stats as far as Dort's concerned. Atlanta's giving up over 30 fantasy points per game to small forwards, over 5 rebounds, over 5 field goals. So great matchup for Lou Dort. And the same story can be said for Trae Young. OKC giving up over 39 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards. Trae Young, he's putting up into the high 50s at a lot of these close up-paced games on the back end of my analytics. I mean, so I have him going over once again. Something I brought up last time that I guess I'll just keep bringing up on the screen because it just makes sense is Prizepicks has the same fantasy scoring format as FanDuel DFS. So a quick little way to tell like how a team ranks against the opposing team's position, which I guess I'm just going to do for here on out because it's a quick visual for you guys. Trae Young, 16th best in the league, are the Thunder against opposing point guards. And then we look at Lou Dort as far as how the Hawks rank. And of course, this search function isn't the greatest on this site. I wanted to quickly pull him up. And I don't know. Here he is. So they rank, the Hawks do 18th against the small forward position. So this is all factored in my projections, but it's just something I like to bring up for a visual for you guys. Trae Young, absolute fantasy point per minute monster. This type of game environment, this is a ceiling environment for him for sure. For pick number 2, really do like him. Once again, the minutes, the opportunities, playing like 40 minutes a game in this game environment. You can see the rebounds, the assists are going to add up quick in the fantasy scoring format. 13, 13, 13, 40 points last time out, 24, 21. Those blocks and steals, he had 3 and 4 steals last 2 times out. And these are all going to add up very quick in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format, guys, right? 1 point for the points, 1.2 for the rebounds. Those assists are 1.5. Those add up quick, and then the 3 for the blocks and steals. So Trae Young's in a phenomenal spot here tonight in this same game environment. For pick number 2, we'll run it back as long as the game stays close and these guys get their full minutes. I think they both crush for us here tonight. And then pick number 3, we're going to go down to this Toronto Raptors Memphis Grizzlies game. Another guy that's getting really solidified minutes. We just talked about Trae Young and the Hawks rotation. Well, the Raptors are the same story, man. They're going to give their starters a ton of minutes, and Scotty Barnes is the next guy I really want to discuss. They did shake up the roster a little bit with the latest trade, getting rid of OG Anunoby, bringing over Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett in the first game with these 2 guys in. We saw them both play right around 30 minutes to go along with Dennis Schroeder. Siakam and Barnes are the 2 key pieces of this team, though, right? And then Jakob Poeltl's minutes went up. You got Gary Trent still as a role player. But it's Scotty Barnes' team as far as I'm concerned. They're building around him. Siakam is another big part of it, but Scotty Barnes is the #1 guy. And something people don't know is he's playing the point guard position practically for this team, right? So he's like a point forward. The only other guy in the entire NBA that people just kind of openly know does that is LeBron James. But people don't understand, like, Scotty Barnes is actually that guy too for this team, right? So he's playing the point guard position as a forward essentially, which is going to increase his assist upside. We just talked about that with Trae Young, right? How those assists really add up quick in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format. And Scotty Barnes is going to be the same thing. He's putting up the exact same permanent rate as Trae Young this season. 1.35 fantasy points per minute, 1.35 fantasy points per minute. And then we look at the minutes, like I said, he's going to play in the upper 30s into the 40s at times as well, right? 39, 38, 38, 36, 36, as long as the game stays close. And he, once again, has a great matchup. Memphis has not been doing too great against his position as well. And like I said, he's a little bit different to analyze than what people think, right? Because he's not truly playing the forward position anymore. He's like a point forward, right? So a lot of people are factoring in that he's like a forward when they're looking at their matchups. They do have a pretty interchangeable roster, I will say. You know, multiple guys that can play the point or rotate around, right? So like Quickly can be an on-ball guy and play the point. Dennis Schroeder can be an on-ball guy and play the point. But Barnes is the guy that's really doing it. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people know that necessarily. And then when we break down how this Memphis team has been against point guards, they've been giving up a ton of fantasy points. Over 40 fantasy points per game, over 7 assists. The blocks and steals are once again a thing for Scotty Barnes with him being out there on the floor for so many minutes. We'll go ahead and pull up his game logs as far as how he's getting the job done so you guys get a visual as always. Scotty Barnes is that dude, man. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 20 points. 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals, 22 points. 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 30 points. That's the last time he really popped off against Boston. That's the kind of upside this guy has. Every single category. He's going to rebound the basketball. He can get you those assists, score, and then the blocks and steals, those peripherals where you get 3 points for every one of those. Scotty is certainly that guy as well. So, do have him projected going way over. I have all these guys projected a pretty sizable, difference, obviously. That's why I said it is a 5-star ticket that I like quite a bit. I've got Scotty Barnes going out there and getting like 50 fantasy points tonight. Trae Young, I've got it getting in the mid-50s. And Lou Dort, I've got going out there and getting in the mid-20s. And then, like I said, the ceilings of 30+. So, right, that's all pretty big difference. I talked about this last video, and I'll continue to talk about it. You're oftentimes not going to get that big of a difference off where Prizepicks has these guys priced, right? They're very good at setting the line, so it's going to be pretty precise, like right where they are. So if you're getting like a 3-4-5 differential in your projection, it's a big deal in the base projection. And then of course these guys have a ceiling much higher. Like Scotty Barnes, Trae Young can go out there and score in the 60s. Like I said, Lou Dort can go out there and easily score in the 30s. So just to kind of explain that, and then 3 more picks for you guys. We're going to go kicking on down to some later games. The next 2 we'll make pretty quick because they're on the same team. Really do like them in a solidified rotation and a great game environment. It's going to be on the Clippers. The Phoenix Suns, a 233 over-under in this game. 4-point spread in favor of the LA Clippers. They have a 118.5 implied team total. And a lot of these points are going to come from 2 guys in this game, in my opinion. And first guy is going to be James Harden. He looks fantastic. He looks like he's back. He's putting up 1.18 fantasy points per minute on the season, and the minutes are starting to ramp up for him, right? 44 and 40 minutes the 2 games prior to last where the game stayed close. Last game against Miami, got a little bit away, a little bit of a blowout in that one. James Harden, if he's going to go out there and play in the upper 30s, 40 minutes, it's going to be the same story we just kind of talked about with Scotty Barnes and Trae Young, right? His price is just not high enough on Prizepicks. In this type of a game environment, as far as the pace in this one and how it's expected to go for this Clippers game tonight, not quite as fast with this 98.5 projected pace, right? But then we look at the total. Clearly, Vegas expecting there to be quite a bit of points scored, and specifically on the Clipper side, as they're favored and have the higher total, right? So James Harden's going to be the first guy, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The minutes are up. The rotation's really solid. And then Kawhi returned last game playing 34 minutes. He was up to the upper 30s when he's been healthy, right? So look at his game logs here. 35, 39, 38, 38, 38, 39. He got 1, 2, 3, 4 games off, a little bit of rest, working his way back from injury, being on the shelf. Now, though, played 34 minutes last time, and I'm expecting that to go right back up into the upper 30s, like I said he was previously. Now that he's got a game under his belt, that was on the first. Now the third, had a day off. Should be good to go in this one. It is a Western Conference game where they really do need these wins for the standings in the playoffs. And these 2 guys I have going way over here tonight by a pretty sizable margin. So, like I said, we'll kind of try to make things quick to wrap up the full 6-man. But James Harden, 38.5. He has surpassed this in 4 of the last 5. I, once again, do have him going out there and being able to do it again here tonight. My latest projection on him is into the mid-40s. So, too low by Prizepicks here. By a pretty wide margin, in my opinion. Phoenix, once again, not doing great against the point guard position whatsoever. They're giving up over 40 fantasy points per game. They're giving up over 7 field goals made. We pull up the quick little FanDuel screen. Like I said, it's the same exact scoring format as Prizepicks, if we can. And Harden, 18th against his position. Just haven't been slowing down him at all. Harden can get the job done for you in so many different ways, right? Not only his ability to pass and get those assists, but we pull up his game logs, very well-rounded. We don't really want to be relying on one category when we're targeting fantasy score. We want them to be able to contribute every way that they can. Obviously, that's all factored into the per-minute rates that I pull up for you guys. But Harden, man, 15 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 10 assists, 4 rebounds. Time prior, 16 points, 3 blocks, 13 assists, 4 rebounds. That's going to be really friendly to you in the Prizepicks scoring format. You put up 29 points time prior. Kawhi Leonard's the same way. Ton of block and steal upside, and he's not reliant on just scoring. He can rebound, assist the basketball. The blocks and steals are there. 4 steals, 1 block. They don't call him the claw for no reason. And this game environment against the Suns looking really good. And then the last thing I'll mention is there's no Kevin Durant, right? So who's going to slow down Kawhi Leonard? You got Maytu, Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal. Not exactly the greatest, man. You'd probably prefer to have Kevin Durant in the game in this one, taking on Kawhi, and they don't. So have these guys both gone over by a pretty sizable margin here. Latest projection on Kawhi, you can see last time out, he put up 50 fantasy points in his first game back, and he didn't even play his full allotment of minutes. Like I said, he's been in the upper 30s. Only played 34 minutes in that game. Still absolutely crushed. So then I said no Kevin Durant. That's going to help our case as well, right? So that will be pick number 5. And then pick number 6, we're going with an under here to round things out. And it's going to be in this late game between the Sacramento Kings and their opponent in the Orlando Magic. The Sacramento Kings are on the second half of a back-to-back here tonight. Domantas Sabonis is the guy I'd like to discuss. He gets to take on an Orlando Magic squad tonight that's been very, very effective at slowing down the center position. They've been one of the toughest matchups in the entire league. This game has a 231 over-under. I like targeting Sabonis' unders because he gets in a ton of foul trouble and he turns the ball over like crazy, which we'll pull up his game logs here in a second. But you got Goga down low, Banchero. They've been doing a great job at slowing down opposing centers all season long. One of the worst matchups you could have in the NBA. And like I said, Sabonis just did play quite a few minutes last night. So he's on the second half of back-to-back. Could see some tired legs out of him. 35 minutes in last night's game for Sabonis. So second half of a back-to-back, a really tough matchup here. And lastly, an inflated line on Prizepicks. Sabonis on a per-minute rate on the season as far as how he's doing. He's putting up 1.36 fantasy points per minute. Talked about last night playing in the mid-30s, right? So that's going to put him right around 40 fantasy points a game. But like I said, not anticipating that he's able to produce at quite as high of a rate in this one because he has one of the worst matchups on the slate. And I can't show you on the screen because it's on the late slate on FanDuel. But Sabonis, 48.5. Last night against Charlotte, he had one of the best matchups you could ask for, I believe, against the center position, if I can recall. I don't have those numbers up right now, but Orlando Magic. We'll go a quick little review as far as how they rank against centers for you guys to kind of round things out here, list off some numbers, and we'll lock in this final pick for the 6th man. Domantas Sabonis played 35 minutes yesterday. Orlando is only giving up 30 fantasy points per game to centers. They are only giving up 5 field goals. They're only giving up 7 rebounds. And Sabonis has a tendency of not performing quite as well when he has no rests. He's only putting up in the low 30s in fantasy points when he's on low rest. So, really like this pick. And like I said, I love targeting Sabonis' unders on fantasy scored at times, to be honest, because he turns the ball over like crazy. He turned the ball over 11 times last night. And he gets in foul trouble like crazy. Look at his fouls. 5 fouls, 4 fouls, 4 fouls. He's going to be a candidate for foul trouble every game and a candidate that's in the ball over. That's fantastic for targeting unders in the fantasy scoring format on Prizepicks. So for pick number 6, we're going with his under. Like I said, guys, I did already send this in to my VIP members. We're going with the under on Sabonis, over on Kawhi Leonard, over on James Harden, over on Scotty Barnes, over on Trae Young, and over on Lou Dort for the full 6-man flex. And like I said, sent in to the VIP, giving it to you guys here for free. I have a lot more picks over there today for this slate, guys. It is a beautiful slate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Great time to join over there if you haven't already. That will be linked below in the description. And just to kind of end the video, I will go ahead and pull it up as far as what I locked in, just for proof that I played it myself as well. Here it is. I can only play $40 on my 6-man flexes now. Unfortunately, the days of being able to win $10,000 a ticket are done for me. But just try to stay positive about it, win as much as I can. I've seen other people limited worse than myself, so I'm going to keep at it, try to help you guys. Over 21.5 for Lou Dort, fantasy score. Over 48.5 for Trae Young, fantasy score. Over for Scotty Barnes, 44.5 fantasy score. Over for James Harden, 38.5 fantasy score. Kawhi Leonard, over 41.5 fantasy score. And Domantas Sabonis, under 48.5 fantasy score. That will be my 6-pick flex. Like I said, I gave it a 5-star on the premium, which just means you can put 2 units on it. I would approve for 2 units. Don't go crazy. Don't be refinancing the house and then, you know, someone rolls their ankle in the first quarter. But it's a really solid play that I like a lot. Hopefully you enjoyed the content, guys. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. The premium content will be linked below in the description. And let's get a sweep, man. Let's keep this run going on the channel. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NBA player props tonight. And we will see you in the next one.